On this episode of Penn's Pulse, presented by S&T Bank, Rethink the Rink is back with Carnegie Mellon University students using their spring break to improve another important piece of hockey equipment.
What we have going on here between the Penguins, Carnegie Mellon, and also with Bauer here has been part of this for a number of years. So this is very, very special.
Three-time Olympian Amanda Kessel sits down to talk about her time working in the Penguins front office in an executive management fellowship.
I had connections with the Penguins before and knew people in the organization, and we talked about having a position like Fortune 500 companies where you get a chance to see different parts of the organization.
And finally, Paul Steigerwald catches up with forward Rickard Rakell and learns about his furry friends, Stella and Heinz.
My wife thought he was like the cutest lab on Instagram. So we followed this account, and this Instagram account, she said that she had to give him up. So my wife's like, you better make sure that we get him.
From PPG Paints Arena, this is Penn's Pulse. This portion of Penn's Pulse is brought to you by your Western PA Honda dealers.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Penn's Pulse presented by S&T Bank. I'm Josh Getzoff. From shoulder and elbow pads to helmets and dasher boards, the Rethink the Rink program has brought new ideas to the forefront in an effort to make hockey safer at all levels. And for the sixth straight year, Carnegie Mellon University students have used their spring break to learn from industry experts at Covestro and the Penguins to advance the game of hockey.
So the Pittsburgh Penguins have won 5 Stanley Cups in their franchise's history. But that being said, there's a 6th that was recently won. And it was won not because of the players on the ice, but because of the students in this Rethink the Rink program. So the Pittsburgh Penguins and Covestro actually won an NHL Stanley, which is the business version of the Stanley Cup in the National Hockey League, for best sponsorship activation specific for this program. And you have an opportunity to help us do it again.
So you might have been wondering this whole time, what's the topic for the year? It's shot blockers.
Goss spare lines, it fires, it's blocked by Petrie painfully. And we'll try to fight through that pain. Hobbled a bit.
On the forehand, into the slot, Dahlin rips one, blocked by Zucker. It hurt him, but he got his body in front of it.
It's getting more important to block shots with your feet now than ever, because now what guys are doing is when they see a guy or a girl lay down to block a shot, they just hang on to the puck and walk around them, then you're out of the play.
Guys used to just kind of put their pads together like this and block the shot. Or they're late. You don't see guys really lay down on the side anymore and block shots like a Guy Carbonneau. Google it, you'll figure it out.
Guy Carbonneau, one of the great defensive players in the game, and he has a Selke trophy to prove it. He scored only 17 goals last year, but he's not paid to score him, he's paid to prevent him.
What we're trying to do is trying to minimize this injury from the extent that it can displace the bone. Average number of games missed because of these injuries was 10.6, which in an 82-game season is a huge number. If it happens in the playoffs, it can be detrimental to a team.
We have the board on the far right. Go ahead and think about some useful notes, gaps to fill that you're already starting to identify. Any other relevant thoughts?
From Post-its to prototypes, the students split into teams and use the remainder of the week developing their shot blocker solution.
Is that foam going on the inside of the boot, or does that also go on the sock?
This would go on the outside of the sock, inside of the boot.
You can put one right on top of where the ankle bone is to see if you may hurt your ankle bone, some along the length just for durability since that's less critical. The other idea we're having is, I don't know why they haven't done it yet, but just remove the laces.
Let's say you replace this whole surface with a honeycomb material of TPU or something like that. I think you could probably print that on your 3D printers. And that would be interesting. I've noticed from some of these more customizable boots, like just the level of, there's a lot, but there's not a lot.
This is a big day for us here because the first time we have part of this event here up at Covestro. What we have going on here between the Penguins, Carnegie Mellon, and also with Bauer here has been part of this for a number of years. So this is very, very special.
We have solution only for pro players, No solution for a retail market, and I'm curious to see what's coming on from today's student with a fresh eyes, maybe inspire us to go in for a new solution.
There have been so many players over the years who have been affected by not having the proper protection on their skates. I have this vivid memory from 1996. The Penguins were in the conference finals against the Florida Panthers. We could have played in another Stanley Cup final had Ron Francis not been hit with a shot on the boot and broken a weight-bearing bone.
Who would have thought it became their inability to score goals that was their undoing against the Florida Panthers?
What a great week it was in terms of information, innovation, and presentation.
For our design, we took inspiration from beetles, as you can see right here. Their exoskeleton or chitin is made of a really hard outer layer, followed by a lattice of hollow cells.
We basically took a sock and bolstered it up. As you can see on my foot, I'm wearing a sample right now. We have it nice and has a lot of range of motion. You can bend it up and down.
Our proposed plan was to put little blocking shelves inside of the skate. When hit with a puck, would hit that shelf and distribute the force around the rest of the skate instead of straight into the top of the foot.
Our idea was to seamlessly integrate the shot blocker into the skate design itself by redesigning the material the skate is made of.
When the hammer hits it, the clay will deform. How much the clay deforms represents how much force is actually felt by the hockey player's foot. Safety first.
You all decided to spend your spring break by helping people. You saw that hockey players work hard, they push themselves all the time, physically and mentally, but they had an unmet need that could put them in potential danger. And so you looked and you thought about their health first, but also about the needs of how to get them to adopt these new changes.
Just an amazing amount of innovation and ingenuity that's happened in 4 days. What you guys have accomplished since Monday in terms of understanding the problems that we face with our players, facing lower body injuries as we call them in hockey, and coming up with 4 very different but very innovative concepts is pretty incredible.
So our first award goes to our 4th runner-up, Team Purple. Our best prototype goes to Team Blue. Most innovative, Team Green. Team Gold, you're going to sock it to them. Team Gold, congratulations, you're best overall.
I know we worked really hard this week to produce something that we thought would really be helpful in the game of hockey, and when we heard that we had done something that other people thought was successful, we really felt validated. You know, we really would love to see this have an influence on the game, make players feel more confident in blocking shots, and also revolutionize the game of hockey.
Coming up next.
Realize the older I get how important it is, and just maybe that one interaction, that one kid that maybe sees what you're doing and inspires them to do something. It's really, really important.
It's time for Back Checking the Pens, brought to you by Shenderovich, and Fishman.
My name's Amanda Kessel. I'm currently in an executive management program with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm a 3-time national champion and a 3-time Olympian with Team USA. In my executive management program, there were 3 different departments that I'd be traveling through. The first one I started in was corporate sponsorships. Then I moved into communications, and then now I'm currently in hockey ops.
It's really important for me to have a career post-hockey, and I've always known that I wanted to stay in the game. I think this is kind of the perfect opportunity to explore all of my passions.
So right after the Olympics, the Penguins hosted us at PPG Paints Arena for a rivalry rematch against Canada, and I had connections with the Penguins before and knew people in the organization and resurfaced some conversations there. And oftentimes I find, and I've heard that for professional athletes it's very difficult to kind of find what they want to do next in life, and unfortunately for women, oftentimes our careers are cut short due to not having opportunities. So we talked about having a position like Fortune 500 companies where you get a chance to see in different parts of the organization. With partnerships, I was able to see how they manage relationships and see all the money that they bring in from these partnerships and how important it is to help the Penguins succeed. Communications, I had the opportunity to attend the Winter Classic. That was a really awesome experience, kind of first time that I've been that close to the ice and kind of seeing behind the scenes of of what goes into that day. In hockey ops, I've been spending a lot of time with analytics personnel and learning kind of their side of the game. I never was exposed to that as a player. If the analytics department is looking at a player and they're looking at some numbers and they make their predictions and thoughts about them, I'll take a look at video and see how it kind of matches up. Do we think the same things about these players? And a lot of times our thoughts do match up, so that's been great for myself. I'm just here trying to soak up as much as possible, and then at the same time trying not to forget about my experience and how can I help and give a different perspective that other people don't know. I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin. I was about 3 or 4 when I got onto skates. Both of my brothers were playing. Blake and then Phil, as everybody knows, from Pittsburgh.
Phil Kessel's a Stanley Cup champion, baby!
We are here to celebrate an extraordinary achievement. Phil Kessel is a Stanley Cup champion. Hey!
That was some of the best memories of his life, but also mine. I traveled to pretty much every single playoff game in those runs. It was unbelievable. Such a great time in his life, and that's kind of, where I started to develop a love for the Penguins. I chose to attend the University of Minnesota. They kind of had everything I wanted. I was going more so for hockey at that point. I knew what my aspirations were to make the Olympics, and beyond the ice, they really cared about you as a person. And I think that really helped on ice as well. Won a few national championships. My junior year, we were undefeated. Our team went 41-0.
And the Gophers are back-to-back natty champs.
In 2013, I won the Patty Kazmaier Memorial Award. It was a special moment, and I think, I take a lot of pride in trying to be the best, so it's obviously nice to achieve that accomplishment, but I definitely couldn't have done it without my team. Right before the Olympics, I got a concussion, and I thought I was better, went through the Olympics, felt fine, and it was kind of the months after that I had these lingering symptoms. I had a lot of sensitivity to light. I had migraines every day. It was hard for me to form sentences because it would hurt my eyes and head so bad. I didn't like being in crowded places and talking to people, and I had to eventually take another year off school. My dreams were kind of fading away, and somebody recommended that I go see Dr. Collins in Pittsburgh. And so the first time that I met him, he was like, "You're gonna play hockey again if you want." And I remember almost being mad at him because I didn't believe it. I was like, a year and a half I've had these symptoms. How can I play hockey again? I just want to go to school and live a normal life. And the major difference that Dr. Collins had me doing was to be active. A lot of people thought that you needed to rest and be in a dark room, and his perspective was completely different, and we just started kind of attacking my concussion back and fighting back instead of letting it take over. I was finally cleared to play games, and my first game was going to be in February against North Dakota.
An exciting time here as Amanda Kessel will get the first shift of the hockey game here tonight. It is a larger than normal crowd here tonight for the return of number 8 to the Golden Gopher lineup.
I remember waking up that day and just being so excited, so happy. I couldn't believe it was there. And getting to the rink, I remember crying most of the warm-ups. I couldn't believe that was a reality, that I was actually back playing hockey almost 2 years after suffering this devastating injury. After fighting back, my team made it to the national tournament, and we went on to play Boston College in the finals, who at that moment was undefeated. Lucky enough to beat them in the championship.
And for the 4th time in 5 years, the Minnesota Golden Gophers are your national champions.
That one was almost just more special just because of the journey that I'd been through, never thinking I was going to play hockey again, and here I was back on the national stage.
Hi.
Hi. You can, yes. That's a good one to choose. To be in this position is really special, and now kind of moving into being a role model for young girls. I'm lucky that there was many that paved the way before myself, but now I take a lot of pride in it and realize the older I get how important it is, and just maybe that one interaction, that one kid that maybe sees what you're doing and inspires them to do something. It's really, really important.
After the break,
we had a hockey tape at home with the different highlights of like all the best players, like Mario, Jagr. Me and my brother was just watching almost every day.
The buzz in the building tonight is all related to the trade deadline and the big pickup for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He comes from the pond to the iceberg.
From Sundbyberg, Sweden, number 67, Rickard Rakell.
Got a guy on the team, Rickard Rakell. It's a fun name to say, Rickard Rakell.
Your name's the greatest. When I did games on TV, I used to love saying Rickard Rakell. It's just that's something about it, you know.
Ty Smith to Malkin, slap shot, and Rakell, he scores! Rickard Rakell says thank you very much.
And then I looked up your name. It's like Rickard, Lars, Gunnar, Roland, Rakell. That's a lot of names, man.
I have a lot of names. It's my dad's, and my like 2 grandfathers' names in there. So we'll see for how long I'll keep that.
What about your nicknames? Like, what do the players call you? Like here, and what do they call you in Sweden?
It's a little bit different. They call me Rille or Rackarn, but over here it's Rax, Ricky. When I first came over here, when I played juniors, I didn't even know like how to pronounce my name in English. Cause like back home, like I didn't know if to say like Rickard or Richard.
Yeah.
So because it's spelled the same back home. So I don't know.
I think Rickard's awesome. I stick with that no matter what. What about your dog Heinz?
Yeah.
What's his story and why that name?
He had that name when we got him. He was the reason why we got our other one. Like my wife thought he was like the cutest lab on Instagram. So we followed his account and ended up getting a black lab from back home in Sweden. And then a year after this Instagram account, she said that she had to give him up. So my wife was like, you better make sure that we get him. So we ended up getting him. And I mean, we're like this, like he's my guy.
Your grandfather was a table tennis professional?
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Tell me about that and how much of an influence that was in your family to the pro table ping pong player, basically.
Yeah. I mean, like in my family, it's always been like a lot of sports. So my grandfather, first of all, he's a professional table tennis player, and my dad is a tennis coach. So we always had like racket sports in our family, playing as much as sports as we could, like just for fun growing up. We had a table tennis table at home.
Are you any good?
I would say I'm pretty good. Obviously, like playing a lot of different kind of sports, I think helps with your profession that you're doing. And if it's like soccer or like you're good with your feet, or table tennis, badminton, and all those kind of things, obviously like helps in some kind of ways.
So how long was it into your life when you thought, I'd like to play in the NHL?
I think it was always a dream of mine. I think we had a hockey tape at home with the different highlights of like all the best players, like Mario, Jagr. Me and my brother was just watching almost every day, and I think that's when we're kind of like fell in love with the like NHL, and that was our like biggest dream. And probably what's been the biggest thing for me is just like having an older brother who always I can look up to and compete with. Like if it's like street hockey, we play from morning till night, and that's when what I think it's made me like for a hockey player that I am.
Anaheim is proud to select from Plymouth, the Ontario Hockey League, Rickard Rakell.
Like I knew I was kind of gonna go late in the first round, early in the second round. So it was a long day for me, and honestly, like coming to that last pick, number 30, I was surprised. I was ready to leave when they got up there, and then I heard my name, and obviously I got really excited, and it's nice to be taken that first day. It was a great moment for me and my family, and just excited to be part of like NHL and just get my dream going.
Hey, welcome back, man.
Thanks, bro.
Miss you, buddy.
I miss you too.
You had a chance to play your old team this year. What was that like?
It was weird, to be honest. Like just seeing a lot of my old teammates skating in the warm-ups and just seeing them over on the other side. It was weird at first, but then, you know, the puck drops and then the game is on.
Yeah. Nice.
You never know with the teams like that. They have a lot of skilled players that can make something out of nothing. So it's never easy playing those types of games.
One touched again, so over the line, left wing, back in front. Rakell redirects it in and scores. 20 goals on the year now for Rickard Rakell. He joins Jake Guentzel and Sidney Crosby as the 20 goal scorers on the Penguins.
You could have become a free agent, but you decided to stay in Pittsburgh. That's pretty cool. What made you come to that conclusion in just what was pretty much a brief period of time before the trade deadline and the end of the season?
Right when I got here, like I really love the organization, the team. They re-signed Rusty, re-signed Tanger, re-signed Gino. Like when you played for as long like as I have, like I want to win. That was my main thing. That like I really enjoyed it here.
You're fun to watch, man, because you're a complete player. I love watching you play. You play every facet of the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Right, thank you.
We're really lucky to have you in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
It's great. Thanks,
All right.
man. Appreciate
Thank you
the
very
time.
much. Yeah, thanks.